Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل ملائكة وروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أحلق والقاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.
First, Mr. Muhammad Manjan to approve the remuneration of directors, to appoint DT Associates as auditors of the bank until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting, to authorize the board to determine the remuneration of the auditors and to transact any other business appropriate to be dealt with at any annual general meeting.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board and shareholders, management of Trust Bank. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to read the curtailed version of the audit report because it's a very long one. May I please refer you to page 12 of the report, please? Independent Auditor's Report to the shareholders of Trust Bank Gambia Ltd. Opinion. We have audited the consolidated financial statements of Trust Bank Ltd. And its subsidiaries, the group, which comprise the consolidated statements of financial position as at 31st December 2018, and statements of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the statements of changes in equity and the statements of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the consolidated financial position of the group as at 31st December 2018 and its consolidated financial performance and consolidated cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standard, that's IFRS, and the requirements of the Companies Act of 2013 and the Banking Act 2009. Signed on page 14, DT Associates, Chartered Accountants, Registered Auditors, dated 29th March 2019. Thank you.
I will be grateful if questions are only asked which relate directly to the motion in question. Resolutions will be carried by a show of hands, where the four are not obviously more than half the shareholders. The stewards will then distribute for the secretary will count the number of persons voting for and against the resolution. If the votes are counted and are fairly close, the chairman may add the proxy votes he holds. That's if the votes are close between the two, the chairman will use the proxy vote to decide on the motion. If the resolution is defeated, including the proxy vote, the chairman will call for a poll. The Articles of Association provides that members holding 10% of the share capital may demand a vote. Sorry, may demand a poll. So that's basically the rule we will follow for the meeting. And just to go on to the first item on the agenda is consideration of the annual report and consolidated accounts for the year ended 31st December 2018. Now, I hereby propose that the annual report and consolidated accounts for the year ended 31st December 2018 submitted to the meeting be received and adopted. Will someone please rise and second that motion? Thank you, Mr. Nyas. Are there any questions before the resolution is put to the meeting? No? Oh, okay. Sorry, I could not see from here. Is Mrs. Taylor, yes?
I wonder how many female representation you have there. In the light of now that everybody is talking about gender balance and the need to improve women in the workplaces, I wonder what the company is doing about that. Also, I have an issue with, want to find out about the governance procedure. When I came in, I had you talking about 10%. I don't know what that is referring to. But I see there was something about performance evaluation. I want to know who conducted the evaluation of the board, of the directors, and of the committees. And I also noticed that there was no training of the board of directors during the year. As we know that governance also is a very burning issue in the corporate world. So we need to improve the way we govern the bank. Also want to know, how do you go about electing or nominating members to the board? Because when I looked at the composition of the shareholders, only 2 have holdings more than 10%. The rest are very, very small, and I think one is having something like 8 or 9%. But the rest are like 1%, 2%. So majority are small shareholders. So how do we ensure that we are properly represented and it's not being dominated by the major shareholder or manipulated by the major shareholder? We want to be, the small shareholders want their voices to be heard, and they want to elect whoever is coming to represent them. So that is one. I brought that issue last year, but it was not properly answered. And no, we are not giving clear answer as to the process through which the representation of the minority, when you put them together, they are like 40%. Minus the 8 or 9 is like 31%. And it's quite a significant percentage. So how do we ensure that these little shareholders, their interests are protected and they are not overridden by the big shareholder? So that's one question I want to ask in terms of governance, in addition to the ones I've already asked, and whether there are any term limits to the board representation. And I also noticed that that the corporate social responsibility.
Ms. Taylor, sorry, you've asked quite a few. Can you give us an opportunity to go through those ones?
Yeah, I think that's the last one.
Okay.
Corporate social responsibility has declined from 3.4 million to 2.4 million. Does that mean that you have scaled down in terms of social responsibility, or is it because of the funding availability? That's why it is going down. I think we should make our presence felt more and more every year. Thank you.
I think there are some here which we can deal with. The easier one is on the training. The training, yes, we recognize that the board needs training. It is fundamental that the board continuously train itself in things that is going on. And governance is, like you said, is critical and important. We've not had any last year, but I'm pleased to inform you that we are making that right. And from tomorrow, the board will actually spend time going to governance training. So tomorrow will be a start to that. In terms of what you had me say when you just came in, I was talking about any shareholder with 10% or more holding can actually ask for a poll on any agenda that is put before, on any motion put before the shareholders for decision. I think on the representation on the board, a lot of it is actually described by the memorandum and articles. And like you said, shareholders with 10% or more holding can elect a member on the board. And so ourselves, and I mean, I don't have the detailed shareholding list, but what we are also doing as a board is looking at the board charter and reviewing the board charter. And some of the points that you have raised, i.e. term limits and how we appoint a member, particularly the minority representation on the board, will be covered in that. We are right now in the process of reviewing that. Currently, there isn't any specific term limit, but that is being considered, and it will be reflected in the charter that the board is currently reviewing. Now, on the question of gender balance, I will pass that on to the managing director to respond to that. And I will also invite any other member of the board to maybe add to what I have said to any of the questions you've raised, or respond specifically to areas that I have not answered, i.e. the CSR and and any other thing that I might have missed. But for the gender, I will pass that on to the managing director to give you a response on that.
Esteemed shareholder, your point is well noted. Management is making conscious effort to encourage and reward and promote females. It may interest you to know that since we came, we have the highest number of branch managers who are female currently. There is an active drive to train and to promote female. Agreed, males still dominate, but the trend is changing. I mean, it's been reversed favorably towards the female gender. I can assure you that. There is not a conscious effort to reduce our CSR. The quantum may have reduced. It's probably a function of profitability. We look at the bottom line and we just apply a percentage, and that is our CSR. We are still committed to the sectors that we work with: education, health, youth development, and environment. We are committed to all of those sectors, and we will continue to work with those sectors.
Down of the loans, which was according to sectors, and it looks like more and more is being geared towards the service sector. I think it's like 75% or more. Agri and manufacturing are very low, and then you have others. What strategy is there in place to put more funds into the productive sector, especially agriculture and manufacturing? Because these are very critical to economic development. And I wonder what the bank is doing to address it.
Thank you. First and foremost, it is basically demand-driven. Maybe that's where the demand is coming from. And you also look at what is more bankable. Allow me to say agriculture is a bit tricky in terms of lending. The bank has suffered losses in the past, so it's been the screening process. For it to go through the screening process and succeed is maybe a bit more tricky. So the demand is coming from the service sector, mainly tourism, trade, the redistributive trade. But if you should see something that is bankable in both manufacturing and or agriculture, the bank will be interested.
I declare, therefore, that the resolution has been duly carried. We now come on to item 2 on the agenda, which is to declare dividend. And I hereby propose that the meeting accepts the recommendation of the board and declare a final dividend of 15 bututs per share for the year ended 31st December 2018. Would somebody please rise to second the motion? Thank you, Mr. Mood. Are there any questions before this resolution is put to the meeting? No? As there are no questions, I now put the motion to the meeting. Would all those in favor of this resolution signify by raising their right hand? Thank you. Would anyone objecting to this resolution please signify by raising their right hand? Okay. I therefore declare that the resolution has been duly carried. We now move on to item number 3, which is the re-election of retiring directors. The directors to be re-elected are to be done, the directors to be re-elected will be done individually. So we will start by Mr. Franklin Hayward. Would someone please rise to second the motion? Thank you. Are there any questions before this resolution is put to the meeting? No. As there are no questions, I now put the motion to the meeting. Would all those in favor of this resolution signify by raising their right hand? Thank you. Would anyone objecting to this resolution please signify by raising their right hand? No. I declare that resolution has been duly carried. Now, the second director due for resolution is my humble self, so I will pass that on to the Managing Director to go through that motion before we proceed.
Thank you. Chairman Director Mr. Mohamed Manyang is due for re-election. Would someone raise their right hand to second the motion? Thank you. Are there any questions about this re-election before we put it to a vote? No? Would all those who support the motion please raise their right hands? Thank you. Would any who oppose the motion please raise your right hand? Thank you. The motion is passed.
The next agenda item. The next agenda item is item number 4, and that is to approve the remuneration of directors. Would someone please rise to second the motion?
Thank you.
Sorry, the motion has been seconded. Are there any questions before the resolution is put to the meeting? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just a short question.
Yes.
What amount are we looking at for item number 4 and number 6?
Okay. Item number 4, which is the remuneration of the directors. We're looking at a monthly board fee of $25,000 and a board sitting allowance of $12,500. Yes. Yes.
What is the current situation now? What are you paying now?
Currently, we are paying a board fees of $15,000 and a sitting allowance
per month?
per month, yes, and a sitting allowance of $7,500
So we are going from 15,000
to 25
and then from 7,500
to 12.5.
to 12,500.
But this was last reviewed in 2014.
So the monthly is higher than the city.
Yes.
Why is that so? I told the city.
For the bank, that has always been the tradition, that ever since the allowances for the month have always been higher than the sitting allowance. And it's that same trend that is continuing. But also, this board is actually quite actively, it's not just the board meetings that the board is actively engaged. Right through the month, the board is continuously involved in all the, in every credit decision that is over 2 million. The board is actively engaged in it, and those activities is not just waiting for a board meeting for it to happen. It is something that happens right through the month, and it can actually engage the board almost on a weekly basis before the next board meeting. So it's not just work happening at the specific meeting date. Any other questions on that resolution? If not, can we put it to the meeting and ask that all those who are in favor of this resolution, please show by raising your right hand. Thank you. All those against the resolution, please show by raising your right hand. Okay. I declare that the motion has been duly carried. We go on to item number 5 on the agenda, which is the appointment of the auditors of the bank until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. Would someone please rise to second this motion? Okay, thank you. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? No, so there was a question of
Remuneration.
This should be their second year.
Yeah.
First year, okay. First year. Their first audit is this particular account that we are considering, yes, yes. Any other questions? If not, I'll put the motion to the floor. And all those in support of the motion, can you please show by raising your right hand? Thank you. Those against the motion, please show by the raise of your right hands. No? I declare that that motion has been duly carried. We then go to agenda item number 6, which is to authorize the board to determine the remuneration of the auditors. Would someone please rise to second the motion? Thank you. Are there any questions before the resolution is put to the, sorry. Are there any questions to this motion before we put it to the meeting? No? Okay. If there are no questions, then I'll put the motion to the meeting. All those who are in support of this motion, could you please show by the raise of your right hand? Thank you. All those against the motion, please show by the raise of your right hand. No? I declare that this motion has been duly carried. We then go on to agenda item number 7 on this. This agenda is really about any other business. So I think at this point, we may just wish to take any questions from the meeting.
I want to find out what is the need for this resolution.
Which the item number 7.
Number 7.
Is really just to give opportunity for people to share questions that they may have.
Huh?
It's just to allow people to share any issues that they might want to bring to the board or to the meeting. Questions that have not been addressed in the specific resolutions put to the meeting. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of the business of the day. And I would like to thank you on behalf of the board of directors for attending this meeting and for showing so much interest in your company's affairs. And I hereby declare the meeting formally closed.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.